Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, where we bring history to life through storytelling. Now, do you know that the last official Roman emperor was born in Britain? If you've been with me before, you'd know that I love telling stories about lesser-known historical figures. The last Roman emperor is definitely one of my favorites. I mean, look at this guy. He looks like he walked right out of a Monty Python movie, doesn't he? His name was Romulus Augustus, and his story is crazy. But before I get into that, well, let's start at the beginning. The year is 476 AD, and you're probably familiar with the story. The great Roman Empire has fallen. Barbarian tribes are rampaging across the Italian peninsula, and the last official Roman emperor is deposed by a man named Odoacer. Bam! Right? That's what you probably heard. But what if I told you there's more to the story? What if I told you that the Roman Empire actually never fell? You might think I'm crazy, but stay with me. Let's travel back in time to the year 285 AD. The Roman Empire, although showing signs of stress, is still standing strong. Emperor Diocletian decided the empire was simply too big for one ruler. So he did something drastic. He split it in half. The west got the Gaulish Emperor Maxianus, and the east got Diocletian. So now we have two emperors instead of one. But this wasn't your average fratricidal breakup. They were supposed to rule together as co-emperors. However, as they divided territories, their ambitions grew, sparking a civil war. After some intense battles, order was restored, and the empire remained intact, but the damage was done. Diocletian wanted a solution. He chose to step down and formally establish two separate empires, splitting not only the empire, but also the title of emperor. The eastern half was incredibly rich, thanks to the lucrative trade along the Mediterranean Sea. This area included key regions like Egypt, the Levant, and Asia Minor, which provided agricultural surplus and raw materials to the rest of the empire. But the real game changer was the wealth flowing in from the east. Cities like Antioch, Alexandria, and Constantinople were economic powerhouses and cultural hubs, attracting merchants, scholars, and diplomats from across the known world. The western half of the empire had Rome as its capital and was primarily focused on military strength. As a result, both halves began to develop distinct identities. The Eastern Empire boasted a flourishing Greco-Roman culture, while the West championed Latin traditions. Fast forward to 330 AD. Constantine the Great decided to move the empire's capital from Rome to Byzantium, a strategically important city on the Bosporus Strait. Constantine renamed the city Constantinople, and soon it was the wealthiest city in the empire. Over the next few centuries, the empire faced a series of threats, including attacks from the Goths, the Huns, the Persians, and the Arabs. But despite these challenges, it endured. In fact, it prospered. Under Emperor Justinian I, who ruled from 527 to 565 AD, the empire experienced a revival of Roman law, art, and architecture. Justinian is best known for his ambitious reconquest of Western territories, which successfully reclaimed North Africa, southern Italy, and parts of Spain. During his reign, the famous Nika riots broke out in Constantinople. These massive disturbances, involving chariot racing fans called the Blues and the Greens, threatened to destabilize the empire. But Emperor Justinian, along with his wife Theodora, skillfully navigated the crisis, restoring order and solidifying their authority. Justinian also commissioned the construction of the magnificent Hagia Sophia, a testament to the architectural brilliance of the time. And then there was the Justinian Code, a systematic compilation of Roman laws that profoundly influenced legal systems across Europe. This period marked the peak of imperial authority and cultural achievement for the Eastern Roman or Byzantine Empire. After Justinian, the empire faced a series of weak and ineffective rulers, leading to instability and decline. By the 7th century, the empire had shrunk significantly. The Muslim conquests led to the loss of Egypt, Syria, and North Africa, leaving Constantinople isolated. Arab armies besieged the city twice, but were repelled by the Byzantine military, bolstered by innovations such as Greek fire. Despite these setbacks, the empire continued to thrive in terms of culture and trade. The 8th and 9th centuries witnessed a flourishing of Byzantine art and literature, exemplified by the magnificent monastery of St. Catherine at Mount Sinai. The empire also maintained crucial trade links with the Middle East, despite the Arab conquests. In the 10th century, the Macedonian dynasty rose to power, ushering in a new golden age for Byzantium. Basil the Macedonian, 867–886, expanded the empire's territory and promoted cultural and economic growth. His successors, Leo the Wise and Alexander the Great, further enhanced Byzantium's prestige. Byzantine influence spread to the Slavic peoples of the Balkans, and the Russians adopted Byzantine Christianity, establishing ties that would shape Eastern Orthodoxy. During this era, Constantinople regained much of its former glory, becoming a major hub for merchants and pilgrims traveling to the Holy Land. As the 11th century dawned, the empire found itself at the crossroads of three powerful forces: the Seljuk Turks, the rising Latin states in the west, and the Russian principalities in the northeast. The First Crusade in 1095 posed a significant challenge to Byzantium. Although initially beneficial as the Crusaders headed east to confront the Muslims, their growing ambition and hostility towards Orthodox Christianity soon became apparent. Tensions escalated, culminating in the sack of Constantinople during the Fourth Crusade in 1204. This event, known as the Cimmerian Night, devastated the city and left lasting scars on Byzantine-Western relations. Following the sack, the empire fragmented into several independent states, including the Latin Empire centered in Constantinople, the Nicaean Empire in Asia Minor, and the Empire of Trebizond in the northeast. Meanwhile, the rise of the Ottoman Turks in Anatolia posed a formidable threat to the fractured Byzantine state. The Ottomans, originally a small Turkish principality, rapidly expanded under the leadership of Osman I. Their strategic location on the Bosporus Strait made Constantinople an essential objective. Over the next 2 centuries, the Ottomans gradually encroached upon Byzantine territories, laying siege to Constantinople on multiple occasions. In the mid-1400s, Mehmed the Conqueror ascended to the Ottoman throne, determined to conquer the remaining Byzantine lands and capture Constantinople. With a massive Ottoman army approaching, the aging Byzantine Emperor Constantine the Palaiologos prepared to defend his city. The siege began on April 6, 1453, and although the Byzantines bravely resisted, they were vastly outnumbered and ill-prepared for a prolonged siege. So how does this tale connect to the last official Roman emperor? Well, as the Ottoman Turks advanced on Constantinople, word reached Britain of the impending doom of the Byzantine Empire. The last Roman emperor, Romulus Augustulus, residing in relative obscurity in a British monastery, learned of the fate of his ancestral lands. How he reacted is unknown. Perhaps he felt a pang of nostalgia. Perhaps he shed a tear. Perhaps he simply shrugged and went back to tending his garden. There's no record of his thoughts because back in those days, nobody really cared about the opinions of deposed emperors living in exile. But that's exactly why I'm telling you his story today. Romulus Augustulus is a symbol of a bygone era, a living link to the grandeur of Rome. He represents the last flicker of a dying flame, a reminder of a civilization that once dominated the known world. On May 29, 1453, after a relentless 53-day siege, the Ottoman forces breached the city's walls. Constantinople fell, ending the Byzantine Empire. Rumors persist that Constantine carried on fighting in the streets of Constantinople, refusing to surrender even as the city fell around him. If true, his courage in the face of overwhelming odds is a fitting end for a soldier emperor. Historians debate the authenticity of these accounts, but they serve as a powerful testament to the indomitable spirit of the Byzantine leadership. And with that, The 1,000-year reign of the Romans in the East came to an end. The Roman Empire, which had endured for over 1,500 years, was finally extinct. Yet its legacy lived on in the hearts and minds of the people, in the grand monuments of architecture, in the timeless works of Roman law, and in the rich tapestry of Christian faith. The story of the Byzantine Empire is one of resilience, of cultural brilliance, and of a legacy that transcended the fall of an empire. So remember this: the last official Roman emperor died believing his empire was still intact, and in a sense, it was. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider supporting us. See you next time.